Alright guys, and welcome back to another Dayz tutorial. So I've got something that should be quite exciting for you, I'm hoping. Now, with the latest Dayz update, 1.23, on their Chernarus map, I haven't seen it on Livonia, but on Chernarus map, they've added these supply crate drops at the Northwest Airfield. So which look like something like these, and we've got these red ones, and these other little military ones there. Now, I'm not on Chernarus. I am on a map called Valnin. If we open up the map, you can see this isn't Chernarus. This is a map called Valnin. But I have added in the supply crates. This airplane, this was conveniently here. This is part of the map. This isn't something that I've placed. So you do not need the airplane for it to work. So like if you play Chernarus and you see it on there, you don't actually need it to work. But because this airplane was here, I'm like, I'm going to put these supply crates here. Now, I wanted them at this airfield anyway, but like I said, because this airplane was there, I'm going to put them there. But you can put these crates down wherever you want them. You don't need an airplane. Of course, you can also place an airplane down if you want to, like go into something like the Dayz editor and do a little bit of map editing. But yeah, to get the crates working, you don't actually need the airplane. But I wanted to show you, if you're like me, I like the idea of this supply crates, even though they're static, and it's not like a proper airdrop. I do have airdrops, but even though it's not like a proper airdrop, I like the idea of these crates there, and there can be loot spawning on them. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And again, this will work on any map. You don't need Chernarus, you don't need Valnin, you can do it on Livonia if you want to, you can do it on the Mosque, do it on any map you want to, and I'm going to show you what you need to do. I will also, in the description box, like I usually do, I will put a paste bin link where you can go to that link and it will take you to the correct page where I will provide you what you need to copy to put into your file. So I'll show you them. I'll show you how I've done them, and then you can just go to that paste bin link, copy what you need, and then put them into your files. Right, so let me just tab out of this, and then let me just go to my notepad and then my server. Right, okay. So at the minute, I'm on my not dedicated. I'm on my desktop, and we've opened up Notepad++, and I've actually gone ahead and just pasted in some things that you're going to need. So if we start from the top, work our way down, there's only a few things, and then we'll go from there. Now, what we've got this event name static airplane crate. So this is the event for the crates, and then we've got the different type of crates that there are, and there's only 3 at the minute. You can remove a crate if you want to. That's up to you. If there's a certain crate that you don't like or don't want to spawn, you can remove that from spawning. And you just say, I didn't want this supply box 3, I could just take that line and delete that line, and it'll stop it spawning. Right. Now, so what we're going to do is you don't really need to mess with anything. I have on mine, I've left the nominal same. I've changed the lifetime to every 45 minutes instead of every half hour. So at the minute it's on 1800 seconds, so this is every half hour. And I've also changed the safe radius and the cleanup radius to 800 meters instead of 1000. But that's up to you how you do that. One thing, now I don't see why it's doing it, but one thing I've tried to do is change the max loot and the min. I tried to lower this from 8 to like 6. So I even went down to 4 and I tried 6 and I thought it was working. But for whatever reason, if I change these values to this from 8 and this one to 4, the loot doesn't seem to want to work. Now I don't know if I'm just not waiting long enough. And then every time I change it back to default values, it's the right amount of time has passed. So for me, 45 minutes. I don't know. Test it for yourself. But when I didn't want as much loot, I wanted a little bit lower. So like I said, I tried to go down to 4 and 6, and then the minimum 2 and 3, for example. And I couldn't get the loot to spawn. But like I said, again, test it out. But just so you know, you might want to keep the child section here, these loot max and loot min, as default. I've put the minimum to 1 on all these, but kept the maximum to 4. I've only got 5 different spawn points. where if we go down here, you know, there's actually quite a few different spawn points you can get. Oh no, no, yeah, that is that file. I've only got 5. I'll probably create more eventually, but for the time being, while I was testing, it was just 5. Right, so before I get ahead of myself, and I put little titles above each one. So add this part into your events.xml file. So this part here, you would copy it. So highlight it all and then Control and C, and then do as it says is go to your events.xml file. So if we tab to my server. Right, okay, we've gone to my server and we've gone into the MP missions, and for me it's my Dayz offline Valnin. For you it'll probably be a different map. And we want to go into our events. So your events is in your DB folder, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit the events.xml. Now you can see I've already got it in here and I've put mine at the top. Again, it doesn't really matter where you're going to put yours. I just put it at the top just because it's easy to do. You can put it at the bottom. You can put it with like the other type of vehicle events that spawn. Up to you. As long as it's structured correctly. As long as you got this last like event tag between the next event. Right, so like I said, I've kept everything same up here. We just changed the lifetime and the safe radius and the cleanup radius. And like I mentioned, we put the minimum to 1. Because we only want 1 type. Actually, I could probably do, let me change these back to 2. I'm going to change these back to 2 because I've actually got 5 spawn points. Actually, no, 1's fine, because I need at least want a minimum of 1 object. So that for me that is fine. Because I got 5, it'll automatically add another 2, so it'll take 2 onto one of these. So I will get more than 3 boxes spawning just because I have 5 spawn points. Right. Once you've done that, you've got that all set up like that. Just file and then save and save it. Right, we're going to close out the event because we've now done that. We're going to just go back to my notepad file and we'll show you the next step. Right, okay, so we're back into my notepad file. And the next part is, scroll down, add this part into your CFG event spawnable types.xml. So this part under here. You don't need to change any sort of names or anything. I guess you can do if you really want to, but I would just keep it the same. And you're going to want to copy all this part. Sorry. You're going to want to copy all this part from event name all the way down to the bottom event tag. Now for me, like I just said a few minutes ago, I've only got 5 spawn positions, where yeah, there's what, I don't know, 20, 30, whatever this is. I haven't counted. So you can add or you can remove your spawn positions. The way I got my spawn positions was I just went into my server, used my admin tools, put my player into certain positions that I wanted to create, and then I just copied my player position and then I put it into my files. But again, I'll actually show you my files so you can see what I've done. But I will provide you, this is the default file, so I'm going to provide you everything that's default, and then you can just change your positions to match where you want your crates. And again, you can add or remove the positions, each line of positions if you want. So if you only wanted, say, 3 positions, you would delete everything, so you've only got 3 positions. I'm hoping that makes sense. Right, so again, copy that part there that I've highlighted, and again, this will be in a pastebin link. You'll see it. There'll be a link in the description, and then you'll see everything that you need to do. Right, so once we've got that copied, let's go back to my server again. Right, okay, we're back on my server, so we're still in the DB folder, so we're going to go back one, and we're going to want to find the CFG event spawns. I think, did I just call it something else in Notepad? Let me just go and double check. I think I called it something else. Yeah, I did. I'm just deleting it now. I call it CFG spawnable events. It's actually just CFG event spawns, I think. Oh, sugar. That'll do for now. I will, before I upload this, I'll make sure this says the correct place that it's got to be. But you'll see where I'm going now. So let me just go back to my server again. Right, okay. So the correct place is CFG event spawn. So we're going to edit that. and we're going to go into this file. And again, cfg event spawns.xml. This is where you need to be. And you can see we've got mine at the top here. Now mine looks a little bit different to what I just showed you, purely because I've shortened the positions. We've only got 5 instead of like the 20, 30, whatever there was. This, I've kept the same. This is all like vanilla default. I've not changed any of this. I do believe we can set the amount of loot here that spawns. Like, so we got dynamic mint. Actually, I think these are the amount of crates. Sorry, not the amount of loot. This is, I believe we can set the amount of crates that spawn here too. But because we set in our events file, I think because we set the limit to child, it's taking the value from the child. I think that's how it works, because you can change this to custom or even mixed. Normally when you're doing stuff like this is all custom, but I think because this limit section is on child, it's taking the values from the child. So I'm going to keep, and I suggest just do the same. You can obviously have a fiddle around if you want, test it. I just suggest keep this as all 0 as you get it from me. But then what you want to do is then change your positions. So you just need your X and your Z position, and do that for how many you need to set, how many crates you want spawning. And then file save. And again, I put mine at the top here. It doesn't really matter where you put it. Right. Like I said, save that. Right, we're going to close out of this. And just so you can see how I got the positions, we'll make up some positions to show you, I can't even speak now, just so you can see how it's done. Give me a second. Right, I've just gone back to my notepad. So all you need to do is, where it says X, I don't usually have the point and then the load of numbers. I will just have the first 4 numbers or first 3 numbers, depending what it is, to where the point starts. So for me, just make up a load of numbers, 2350, and then the same with the Z. Okay, just made up a load of numbers, but say that was your positions. That's all you need to do. You can have the point and then all the other numbers if you want to, but they're really small, fine margins. If you want to be exactly precise where your crates are, then you can put the points in. If you see this with the A, so this is like the orientation of the crate. I don't bother using this. You can do that if you want to. Whatever way my crates face is fine with me. It's only a little space, and the crates are they're all square or rectangle, so there's no really one way is the right way with a crate, with them type of crates anyway. So if you did want to remove the orientation part, like it shows there, just get the A part up until the comma and delete it, so it's just like that, and then you get out the A's, because you can see some of the orientation and some don't. Right, okay, so once you've done that, the next part is you need to go to your map group proto.xml. Now we've got, with the map group proto, you've got a loot max section here. So this is all like vanilla. Now when I change this is max. When I changed it up here in my event section, when I put the loot max to say 4 or 6, I also went and changed it here as well, so it matched. Now as long as this is more than this section, it doesn't really matter. You could put this to 4 technically and keep the map group proto one to say 8. It doesn't matter, just don't have it the other way around, because you're not going to get the full loot. But it's probably always a good idea to make this loot max equals the same figure that you have in your event file. But also, like I said, sorry I keep saying it, but I just kept it vanilla because when I tried changing it here, it wasn't working. But I might have not just been waiting long enough for my event to kick in. Right, let's go back down to it. Right, so add this part to your map group proto.xml. So literally copy. You don't need to copy where I've got add this part to your whatever file. Don't copy that. Only copy the bits that I'm showing you, the bits that I've highlighted. So we'll copy all the way down there, and we've got 3 of these crates, and we copy down to the bottom group tag. And then, you guessed it, we'll go back to our server. Right, once you're back in your server, find your map group proto.xml. And we're going to edit this. And don't forget to save. Once you've edited it all, don't forget to save it. If your server's on, I would suggest have your server offline and then start your server. If your server's on, just make sure you stop and restart your server. Right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll down to near the bottom. Don't want to quite go to the bottom, but you'll get a section. Again, it doesn't really matter where it goes. I think as long as it's above this section. But you'll see this bit where it's like commented out, not in game, no preparation. So this stuff isn't in game yet, and so this stuff is commented out. Now you could probably post it under here, but I don't know if it's going to spawn. So I would suggest anywhere above where this part starts. And yeah, it's quite near the bottom of your file. So what we see, if we scroll up, we can see we've got the supply box 3, the supply box 2, and the supply box 1. And for me, it's under the Landrex Sedan or SED02 underscore ABN 2 underscore red. And I've just pasted mine under here. So you find the bottom of that group tag under that previous event or previous map group pro.xml file, and you would paste it in just like I've got there. So it starts with group name, and then it ends with the bottom group just above the bit where it says not in game. And then you save it. And again, I wouldn't mess with any of these point spawn positions. These seem fine. I've just copied this from Chernarus and it's all fine on my server. You could probably, well, you should be able to mess around with the category names and tag names if you want to. If you want certain loot to spawn, if you've got custom category names or anything, again, you should be able to mess around with that. And the user's name. So like this supply box here, this should have a user's name of medic. So anything with a medic usage should spawn at this crate. The supply box 2 as like a military, and the supply box 1 as military village and town. And they can spawn stuff with food within, I think, them usage names. And then that is it. File save that. And again, don't mess around with any of the point positions unless you know what you're doing and how this all works. But you should be able to mess around with all the category names and that. But for the purpose of testing it, just make sure you keep everything as I send it to you. Then you can test it and you'll see it working. You may need to wait for the event to kick in. When I first added this to my server, the crates were there, but there was no loot. But once I just waited a little bit for the event to like kick in, loot started spawning. And once my player or any other player was out of range, it worked. Right, and then, file, save it. Right, and that is it. Again, once you've all done this, like I just said a few minutes ago, stop and restart your server, or if your server is stopped, which ideally it should be, just start your server up and then just give it some time. If loot isn't there to start with, go off and do your own thing or whatever, and then come back to it like half an hour or so later, and you should start to get loot there. And as long as you put this in the file correctly, you'll be good to go. Anyway, until next time, guys, have fun and peace out.